We're off to a great start. Fall 24 is here. We are roughly 1 month into the start of the fall semester already. We kicked off with an amazing move-in day about a month ago. Our students started arriving. Our athletic programs are in full swing for fall sports teams. Our performing arts, rodeo, and of course all of our classes are going. An exciting thing we've got going is a new classroom building for our electrical power technology program. Is being in the final stages of construction here on the PCC campus. It's on the west side of our campus, so if you're coming up Highway 61, you'll see the building closest to the highway. It should open up roughly the first part of November, and we're very, very excited to provide a modern classroom facility for that program. We have anywhere from 45 to 50 students every year on our campus for that program, and it's become our largest enrolled and highly successful program here on campus. So looking forward to that. A lot of fall sports, as I mentioned, and different performing arts activities going on. Our rodeo students are off competing as well. So off to a good start. The temperatures don't suggest fall. They just keep in the 90s plus. And so that's been kind of an interesting thing to work through. But off to a great start here at PCC. We have three main, what we call institutional aims or goals that drive us every year. And it starts, number one, with student success. And student success can be defined in a variety of ways. A student coming out here taking one class, getting a job-ready credential to go to work, all the way from a student who wants to get a complete associate degree and then transfer or go to work depending on their field of study. Student success is what we strive for every year, and we try to meet the students' goals, again, depending on what their individual targets are for their life. A couple of examples of some of the success we've had with some of these metrics. We have, over the last decade, amongst the 25 two-year schools in the state, 19 community colleges, 6 technical colleges, we are first or second every year in graduation rate. We also have first or second highest average starting salaries for associate degree graduates, which are tremendous pieces. And our tech programs really speak to that particular metric, because the people will go to work, whether it's a CNA, CMA program in the allied health world, welding, automotive tech, agricultural power, or as I mentioned, linemen, and of course our ag program. We also have a metric called, the Board of Regents does, I should say, called the Student Success Index, which is a combination of graduation and transfer rates. And typically we're 65 to 68% of our students every year will graduate or transfer. And again, that's first or second in the state amongst the two-year sector. And just most recently here, a couple of weeks back, we received notification from the financial services organization called Wallet Hub that we were the number 3 ranked community college in America, actually two-year school in America. They use the American Association of Community Colleges as grouping, so there's about 675 schools in that grouping, and we were ranked as number 3 in the nation. And I liken this, to me, it's a return on investment piece. They have 18 different methods in their study as to how they use it. What they like to say is, what's your cost? Are you affordable? And we are. Do you give federal financial aid and scholarships, which we do, which lowers the cost? Yeah, and my answer to that is great. You've got an affordable community college, and that's important. However, are your students successful? Do they persist? Do they retain? Do they complete their certificate? Do they complete their degree? Do they transfer? Do they graduate from the 4-year school ultimately when they leave? Do they get a job? Do they get a good paying job? The ultimate reasons you come to college, obviously, to gain employment. So they look at that cost. Do you give the financial aid and the scholarships versus the jobs and then the good paying job? And that's the gap between those two is what I call the return on investment. And we came out at number 3 in the nation this year by this company. We're unsolicited piece. It's data that we have to put out there, required to put out by the Department of Ed, and they take it and put it into their study, and it produces that. The last decade, we've been in the top. We were number 18 in the nation last year. We've been in the top 20 before several times. So this is not an unusual notification or recognition for Pratt Community College, but one we're unsolicited, but we're very proud to receive. The next institutional aim centers around enrollment stability. And I'm pleased to announce that for the third consecutive year, our enrollment is up at Pratt Community College. 2 years ago, we were up 7%, last year an additional 8%, and this year we expect to be up in the 4 to 5% for the full academic year. Currently, we're ahead of that pace, but typically in the spring we do lose some enrollment, and that happens pretty much every year. And so we're balancing out the year and projecting somewhere between 4 and 5% for the year. So very proud to do that, and excited and appreciative of all the work done by our admissions staff, our faculty and staff recruiting, our coaches, our activity sponsors, et cetera, who do great work in recruitment. We have seen a kind of a trend shift in enrollment. Our on-campus enrollment this year is actually a little behind where it was last year. Of course, last year we were overflow. We had people in our nearby hotel because our dorms were over capacity. This year we're not in that situation. We're about 88% in capacity in our residence halls, but the increases have been noted in our online programs. Many of our students are choosing to take that route for their higher ed coursework, and we're happy to offer that alternative as it fits many people's world. Pratt Community College did obtain, if you will, or acquire Educan, and we are the sole school involved in Educan now. There used to be a consortium and partnership involving 3 to 6 schools. Right now, Pratt Community College is Educan, and Educan provides us with their 25-year history and brand an opportunity to reach outside of South Central Kansas and gain access to students that ordinarily would not have any connection to PCC. So the bulk of our students come from Oklahoma, some from Missouri, East Coast United States, but that's what online opportunities can do. So enrollment stability is our second aim, and we're proud to be showing stable and increased enrollment. Our last institutional aim that we strive for every year is financial viability. And we believe strongly that the institution has to be good stewards of the dollars from the local property taxes as well as the state and our tuition and fee revenue that forms the revenue base for our college to function. We're proud to be good stewards of those dollars. And in that regard, we also want to be making sure we have appropriate cash reserves put back in case there is an emergency type situation. Currently, we have 9 months worth of operating cash reserves, which we're proud of. A lot of people strive to get 3 to 6 months. I'm pleased to be at 9, and would like to see even get up to 12, but understand that that's a balancing act, trying to keep the dollars in the appropriate places. So. Also, we have an A++ rating through Standard & Poor's, which means if we're going out for any bonding or anything like that, the institution is looked at very, very highly from a financial piece. So a lot of those goals or strategies around those goals every year are what we strive for, but that is what guides us overall. At the end of August, our Board of Trustees held a public budget hearing and listened to several concerned citizens sharing their feedback regarding our budget proposal, mill levy proposals, and that type of thing. At the end of that evening, the board went through the process of officially approving the 24-25 fiscal year budget. This year was very challenging, and it was complicated by the overall property valuation decrease in Pratt County. I should say the overall assessed valuation decrease of Pratt County. And this was primarily due to an area they call state assessed utilities. There's about 6 different factors that go into figuring out the complete valuation in Pratt County. And the first one is property tax values, and that runs at about 58% of that weighted formula. The next one is state assessed utilities, and that's roughly 30%. There's another 4 or 5 factors that make up the remaining balance, but those 2 are the primary ones. And we saw a $14 million decrease in the valuation of our state assessed utilities here in Pratt County. And that all comes from the state of Kansas. We had nothing to do with that. And this decrease is tied primarily to Northern Natural Gas and the amount of storage and the price of natural gas when they took their snapshot for the year and then compared it to previous years as to go up or down in value. So what happened this year, because of that, property values went up while state assessed utilities went down. And so overall, we were faced with a $13.7 million decrease in overall assessed valuations in the county. So PCC was forced to raise the mill levy by three mills just to get where we were last year to generate the same dollars due to the decline of the state assessed utilities. The board also agreed to a 0.5 mill increase to cover the neighborhood revitalization program, which we support. However, that also, by allowing that to occur, it does lower the valuations a smaller amount. So overall, PCC board approved a 3.5 mil increase for this year. And this is really a challenge for our board because we've got a really strong history of managing our resources very, very, very well. Over the last decade, from 2014 to 23, PCC decreased the mill levy 12% during that time period. Only one other school in Kansas decreased it at a higher percentage during that time. Again, we were very cognizant of the mill levy, the taxes that are generated here in Pratt County. We did not gain any additional dollars. We just covered what was lost due to the decline in the overall valuation. This is a difficult situation and a challenge for our board, as they are residents of Pratt County, of course, and they work here, and they also pay taxes here. And so they have to balance their role as trustees of the organization and ensuring that appropriate resources are in place so we can meet our mission of quality instruction and workforce programs and services, community engagement, and workforce development. So, along the way, the board also authorized a 3.5% raise for all of our employees, which is greatly appreciated. And that was another piece. Obviously, inflation, everyone is feeling the hit on that area, and so cost of benefits, health insurance, et cetera, and products, goods and services, in addition to raises, increased everything. So we realize this is a hardship for our local taxpayers, but I do want to point out that the increase on a property owner of a $150,000 home is an additional $60 per year. The impact on a quarter section of land with a value of $3,000 increased by $504 a year. We understand and empathize. These are challenging times, and that it's still a tax increase in those regards. But because of the way the situation fell, this was actually done to us. It was not done by our choice. We did not go out with the intent to raise the mill levy, but we felt we had no choice at that particular time. So, it's been a challenging year, but the budget is passed. We are moving on into the year, and come spring of 25, we'll begin this process again. Overall, Pratt Community College strives to be a good community partner, and we have a mantra here of our middle name is community, and it is Pratt Community College. Through that mantra and that slogan, we have averaged over 8,000 hours a year in community service in our community, and we continue to seek out different events and organizations that need assistance. I know the Oktoberfest is coming up soon, and Lemon Park Lights in the Christmas time, and a variety of other events that our people are volunteering to help and assist with the youth and camps and things like that are good examples. But that's an important piece that we bring to the community. We also collaborate with the community on a variety of other projects. We brought the track and field complex, the Bill Keller Family Sports Complex, adjacent to the Green facility, Green Sports Complex, here in Pratt, and that opened in 2019. And it's a shared investment. Pratt Community College paid for all the construction of the facility at $3.5 million commitment. through private fundraising dollars and grants. Through the opportunity, we were able to get some federal grant dollars because the city owned the property and we collaborated with them, and it was an outdoor recreation project. So we got $600,000 worth of federal grants towards that. But that's a wonderful facility. It's the home for our soccer, track and field, women's flag football teams, as well as our activities will take place down there from time to time. But when we're not using it for PCC events, high school, both Skyline and Pratt schools can schedule track meets, practices, other events out there around the schedule there that they work together in that process. And the big users are the city recreation program. So the youth programs here in Pratt have flag football and soccer, amongst other things that take place on turf and on the track. The local track club, youth track club, is also very much active using the facility. So that's just another example of sharing resources and all for the betterment of the community. Another piece that is important to us in being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars is we strive to spend as many dollars as we can locally. Our board has a policy that says if a in-county vendor gets within 7.5% on a price quote or a bid, we're required to do those. By statute, the board can choose to spend more money for the cost to keep the dollars here in Pratt County. And we strive like heck to do that every time we can. Unfortunately, we can't buy everything in Pratt County to run the college, but this last year we were able to, 1/3 of our purchases of goods and services were able to be done here in Pratt County. So that's important to us as well, to keep the money local and keep it circulating. We also bring other events to town because of having a college here. Graduation brings a large amount of people at the end of the year. The college hosts an annual Miss Kansas pageant every year. This past May, we held the Region 6 track meet with 18 schools on campus, men and women, in Pratt for 2.5 days. Hotels were full, restaurants, gas stations, other items were purchased in town, of course, in that way. So we have many people and groups that will use our facilities for free, and we're grateful to be a partner here in town. We do an annual economic impact study every year. And this past year, it turned out that for the $8 million invested in the taxpayers from Pratt County, we turned that back into over $41 million back when you use a multiplying factor, a modest number of 4. And we think that shows really, really good returns. For a student, for every dollar that they invest here at PCC, it returns over their lifetime $4.09. From the state of Kansas, every dollar invested returns $2.24. And in Pratt County, for every dollar invested returns $6.70 off this most recent economic impact study. So we think we bring a lot of value. We're the second largest employer in the county. We think that if the college wasn't here, there might be about 120 or so employees out of our 140-ish that would not live in Pratt because their industry is higher education. But we want to be good community partners. We want to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars, and we believe and we strive for that every year. We're not perfect, but we do work very hard at being good community members here in Pratt.